Hi, I'm Ann. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing the 50 questions you've never been asked before tag. So basically it's a way for you to get to know me. Technically I wasn't tagged in this, but Becky from Teacup the Storyteller, she did this on her channel a few weeks back, and in the comments I was like, this is such a fun tag, and she was like, consider yourself tagged then. So technically I was not tagged, but I was tagged. So let's just jump in because there are 50 questions and I do not want this video to turn into like a 40-minute video. Number one, what is your favorite candle scent? I've always liked the pines and the balsam fir type scents. Very like rustic. The other one I like, but unfortunately I can't really buy it because when I lived with my mother, she hated the scent, and now that I live with my husband, he also hates the scent. It's the scent of coffee. Coffee candles are just, I love the scent of coffee. Number two, which female celebrity do you wish were your sister? Recently, I've been watching Stranger Things, so I feel like Millie Bobby Brown would be a very good response. She just seems like a very fun person, and I feel like she gets a lot of undeserved hate. But my other answer to that was Angela Lansbury, and she's like 90 right now, so either like super younger or super older, so I guess, you know. Number three, which male celebrity do you wish were your brother? I know, the first one that comes to mind is Ryan Reynolds, just because he's just so hilarious, and him and his wife are just the cutest couple, so I feel like he'd be a lot of fun to be a brother too. I don't know. Number four, how old do you think you'll be when you marry? Well, I'm already married, and I married earlier this year, so I married when I was 28, so. Number five, do you know someone who is a hoarder? Yes, I'm not sure if they watch this channel though, so I'm not going to name any names. Number six, can you do the splits? No, and I've never been able to. I used to figure skate for about 10 years, and I would try to do a lot of stuff that were splits related, and unfortunately my body is just not naturally limber. Number seven, how old were you when you learned to ride a bike? Considering I learned how to ride a bike on my farm, I was 8 when we moved out of there, and I definitely learned how to ride a bike on that farm, so I would say probably about between 6 to 8. Number 8, how many oceans have you swum in? Technically only the Pacific Ocean. When I lived out in Oregon, we were actually on the West Coast, and so we would go to the beach once in a while. Number 9, how many countries have you visited? Unfortunately, just the USA. That's the only place I've gone to. I've traveled extensively around the USA, but unfortunately I haven't traveled outside yet. I read a lot of books from other countries, so I really want to travel, but I just have never been able to afford it. Number 10, is anyone in your family in the Army? Well, my father was in the Army for, I think, 4 years. He was in the Marines back in the, I guess, 80s, but my husband was actually training in the Marines right before I met him, and he decided not to actually enter the Marines. One of my uncles, who has now passed away, he fought in the Korean War. I have an uncle who fought in the Vietnam War, so I have a lot of relatives who are in the who were in the military. Number 11, what would you name your daughter if you had one? Oof. I don't know. My husband and I haven't discussed that. Once I get pregnant, I'll probably be like, oh, I need to figure out a name for the baby. And number 12 is, what would you name your son if you had one? And again, I don't know. Though my husband and I were discussing Adam the other day, and we were like, this is a pretty cool name. Number 13, what's the worst grade you got on a test? I don't say this to brag, but to be honest, the worst grade I've ever gotten is a B, but oddly enough, it was because everyone was failing in that class, and I was getting like the highest score, one out of 4 students that were getting B's. Everyone else was getting C's or below. So at the end of the course, technically I got a B, however, because he decided to grade on a curve, even though he said at the beginning of the semester he would not be grading on a curve. I ended up getting an A in that class, even though all my tests I think I got B's on. So yeah, interesting. But when I was in high school, because I was homeschooled, basically what the curriculum demanded was that we had to keep doing and redoing and rewriting things until we got A's. So basically you weren't allowed to fail, but the whole point was like you had to work hard until you got A's. Number 14, what was your favorite TV show as a kid? TV show, I did not watch a whole bunch of TV shows. Mostly I watched movies. Not sure if this counts, but The Land Before Time was a whole set of TV movies. The first one came out at the theaters, but all the rest were TV movies. So technically not a TV show, but I remember watching that a lot growing up. Number 15, what did you dress up for Halloween when you were 8? I don't remember. I was either a pumpkin or a princess, because those were the two costumes I remember wearing before I moved from my farm. Number 16, have you read any Harry Potter? Hunger Games? Twilight? I have read all of Harry Potter. I've read all of Hunger Games. Twilight, I've read all but the last book. I just was so fed up by the third book, I was just done with it. Number 17, would you rather have an American or British accent? Is that even a choice? British accent, if I could choose. Like, British accent sounds incredibly cool. And American accent is varied. I guess British accent is very varied too, depending on if you come from the north of England or the south of England, or like that London accent or like the Cockney accent. But Americans are often very diverse in their accents as well. You've like the deep south, you have more of like the Californian type accent. So I have a little bit of a combination of the Midwestern accent as well as like the Western Coast accent. I'm like a mess because I grew up all over the country. Number 18, did your mother go to university? Yes, twice. In fact, the second time she went, first time to become a teacher. At the end of every single school year, they would basically lay her off, and she had no idea if she would have a job that coming fall. So she was like, you know what, I'm going to go back to school and go into engineering. And as it was a good thing, because that's where she met my father. So number 19, are your grandparents still married? On my mother's side, both of my grandparents have passed away, so they did remain married until they both passed away. And on my father's side, they are both still alive, and yes, they are still married. Number 20, have you ever taken karate lessons? No, but I wish I had, because my sister did, and she got up to being a black belt, and I wish that I had too, but I was never really interested in physical sports. Number 21, do you know who Kermit the Frog is? Yes. And in fact, I memorized on the piano how to play the Rainbow Connection at the beginning of one of the Muppets movie. And I loved Kermit the Frog and all the Muppets. I was obsessed with them, especially Muppets Treasure Island. That was like my favorite movie to watch growing up. Number 22, what was the first amusement park you visited? I don't remember necessarily. Because anything before like 5 years old, I wouldn't remember. And we did go to like state fairs and stuff like that before that. The first big amusement park I went to was when I was 6. We traveled down to California and I went to Disneyland. So that was like the big first amusement park that I specifically remember. Number 23, which languages would you like to be fluent in? Oof. Every single language. If I could, I would want to be fluent in so many different languages. I think my top ones are Chinese, Korean, obviously because I'm so interested in Asian culture. I would also really love Russian, because I love Russian history and I love Russian classics, and that means I could read the Russian classics in their original language. And probably French, because I also like a lot of French classics. So those are the 4 big ones that I'd love to be fluent in. Number 24, do you spell it gray or gray? Like gray or gray? I think I alter it. Because I'm never sure which is right, and technically both are right, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I will randomly spell it differently when I'm like, no, I think this is right. No, I think this one's right. So, yeah. Number 25, is your father bald? Well, technically he's dead now, but no, he was not bald. And since his father is still alive, my grandfather is not bald, I would say probably my dad would be bald. My family has great hair, which, is probably why I have such good hair. Number 26, do you know triplets? I don't think I personally know any triplets. No. I do know, I have not met some twins before, but not triplets, unfortunately. Number 27, do you prefer Titanic or The Notebook? I'm not a big fan of either movie, to be honest, but because I like history, obviously, I have to go with the Titanic, because the Titanic is beautifully shot, and I love the costumes, and the facade and the horrible tragedy of the Titanic is really fascinating to learn about, but I also hate the Titanic romance. Controversial take. I'm sorry. Just Rose is an idiot. And what is his name? Jack? Oh my gosh. I don't like them. Number 28. Have you ever had Indian food? Yes. Mostly I've had like Northern Indian Indian food though. No, it's Southern Indian food that you find a lot in America. So yes, I've had Indian food and it's amazing. Number 29, what's the name of your favorite restaurant? Oof, not sure if I have a favorite, but there's one, Akashi is this Asian place that I love. It's a little bit on the expensive end, so I don't go that often, but it's where I had my bachelorette party. And there's also like a Asian buffet near my mother's house that, is like family run. It's very cute and sweet. And so those two I would say are my top two favorite restaurants. But I think Asian food is my favorite type of food. Number 30, have you ever been to Nandos? I'm not Googling it. You're Googling it. Oh. It's a South African multinational fast food chain. No, and as far as I know, there is none around me because I've never heard of that before. Number 31, do you belong to any warehouse stores? I assume like having a Kohl's card or something like that, and no, I do not. I very rarely like shop at traditional stores. Like 90% of the clothes I get are from the Goodwill. Number 32, what would your parents have named you if you'd been the opposite gender? Oh, I think my mom has at times told me, but I do not remember at all. So I don't know. Number 33, what's your nickname? I was called Annie when I was younger and I hated it. Now I don't really care. But I would say I never really had a nickname growing up. My dad, when I was really young, would call me Annie Banani because, you know, Ann Banana. But besides that, I didn't really have a nickname. Number 34, who's your favorite person in the world? Loki. You should see him right now. Here, I'm gonna flip it so you can see what he's doing right now.
He's just so cute.
But yeah, probably my husband. He is my favorite person in the world. Number 35, would you rather live in the country or the city? I'm more in the middle type, so I like to have access to certain things that the city has to offer, like running water, good cell service and Wi-Fi and things like that. But I don't like living very close to a city. Like I like living on the edge of the suburbs type thing, in more of a country type area. So number 36, can you whistle? Yes. But I remember when I was younger, I just could not figure it out. I couldn't figure it out till I was almost a teenager. I was really bad at it. Number 37, do you sleep with a nightlight? No, I do not. Though I have found myself recently, I just cannot go to sleep without some type of noise. So usually I turn on like rain ambiance and then I set it to like an hour and then it turns off after an hour. So I don't sleep to a nightlight, but I am weird. Number 38, do you eat breakfast every morning? Not every morning, but my husband needs breakfast every morning, so I've started eating it. But when I was just making my own breakfast, I would just have coffee and just not eat till like noon. Number 40, what medical condition do you have? I don't have any medical conditions that are major or anything like that. Like I have small things, like I have some allergies, but besides that, I guess not really. Oh, I missed one. 39. Do you take any daily pills or medication? I take DIM, which is basically a natural supplement, kind of like a vitamin, but it balances out your hormones. And I had really bad acne when I was a teenager up to my early 20s, and I started taking DIM and all my acne went away. So I still have some acne scarring, which you can see on my face, but for the most part I don't really get acne anymore, which is great. And so I take that, and then I also take like just daily vitamins. So besides that, nothing. Number 41, how many times have you been to the hospital? I've been to the hospital a couple times. I had a kidney issue when I was maybe like 6 or so, and I remember spending some time in hospitals then. I also had pneumonia once, and I had to go to the hospital then, but it was more like making an appointment with the doctor and to do x-rays and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different than like an emergency hospital, so I'm not sure. Number 42, have you ever seen Finding Nemo? Yes. I used to quote it all the time. Just keep swimming. Because yeah, it was really good. And then I did not like the second movie. Anyway, but great movie. Number 43, where do you buy your jeans? Goodwill. I have, but for the most part, I'm not happy with a lot of the jeans I buy. So I always just get them at the Goodwill, but I don't wear jeans that much. Number 44, what's the last compliment you got? I'm sure from my husband, because he gives me compliments like daily. I don't know. You're wonderful, or like, thank you for making me food. Something like that. I'm sure that's what he said last. Number 45, do you usually remember your dreams in the morning? I do if after I wake up, I repeat to them what happens, especially if it's a good idea for a book, I will want to remember it. So yeah. Number 46, what flavor tea do you enjoy? Every single flavor. Are you kidding me? There's not a flavor I don't enjoy. My favorite are fruity ones. I like matcha flavored. Those are really good. Anything. Number 47. How many pairs of shoes do you currently own? Under 10, but more than 5, I guess? I don't know. I haven't counted them, but I don't own that many pairs of shoes. Number 48. What religion would you raise your children to practice? Catholic. I'm Catholic, so I raised my children Catholic. Number 49, how old were you when you found out Santa wasn't real? In my family, we had an unspoken idea of like whether Santa was real or not. So I would say probably I knew it by the time I was 6 or 8, but we played the game up till I was in my teenage years, that it was Santa giving us gifts and it wasn't my dad. So I guess technically young, but it was also a fun game to play. And my sister and I both realized that. Number 50, why do you have a blog? Because I like talking and sharing book ideas. I also think it's a fun way to get outside of your bubble and be able to grow in a community, as well as challenge yourself. I don't speak well in front of groups especially, so this helps me to be so much more confident in talking. So that is the tag. I will try to edit this down as much as possible. I would love to hear your responses to any of these questions. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like, subscribe. I post every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!